Peace, shalom, assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the rug pool. I am Darth Flocka, also known as the Padawan Alchemist. Now, this is like my first video that I'm putting up here on the channel that I'm making solely specifically for YouTube. And boy, what other better video to put first for those that may just be finding me for the first time, okay? Why I stopped believing in God, specifically the God of the Bible and any of these other gods of organized religions. You know, I've been through the ringer. I mean, goddamn, you can call this goddamn surviving Christianity, if you will. Because there's a lot of our people that don't make it out of this shit. And it's really sad and unfortunate to see. But, hey, it is what it is. Because one thing this video is not going to be is trying to convince anybody not to follow their God or follow any specific said doctrine or any teaching, you know what I'm saying, that may stem from slavery. That's their choice. Okay, I'm just going to explain why it is that I chose to stop following a God, stop praying to an external deity or believing in a external savior or, you know, some type of deity figure to come rescue me or help me in my time of trouble or anything like that. No, all of that shit is out. Okay. And it may sound crazy, you know, coming from a black person, you know, just openly saying, hey, I don't even fuck with God like that, especially not the God of the Bible. Yes. Now, speaking of the Bible, I have a interesting background. Not as interesting as it may sound. It's pretty normal when you break it down. I was a Christian for the majority of my life. My grandfather was a pastor, which means my mother was a preacher's kid, which means my ass grew up in the goddamn church. Pentecostal. Okay? Now, if you know anything about the Pentecostal church, you know there's a whole lot of shouting, screaming, and rolling around on the floor, whole lot of hooting and hollering, you know, and some decent tunes. You know, you can get a good vibe listening to that organ and drums, you know. Okay. And some nigga finna scream at you. You know how it gets down in the Pentecostal church. Okay. Now, like I said, raised in the church, you know, everybody ends up falling out of the church when they get 16, 15, you know what I'm saying? They end up just, you know, most people that I know from where I come from, niggas end up falling out of that shit, you know, early. Okay. But that's not where I stopped with the Bible. Along my journey of, you know, self-discovery and just diving down the rabbit hole and studying just the world and shit like that, you know, I eventually ended up coming across a certain doctrine that sat well with my spirit, which was that of the Israelite doctrine, the Hebrew Israelite, you know. No diss to anybody who's following the Torah or anything like that. There are still things from the Torah that I follow. Okay. It's straight like that. Ain't no damn pork. None of that bullshit. All right. But there's reasons for that, you know. And when you see where they even get those laws that were put into the Torah, you know, it's all our shit anyway. It all stems back from Africa. All right. Now, following this Israelite doctrine, no camp or anything like that, just self-study. You know, I got a plethora of fucking biblical books and, you know, concordances and dictionaries for Greek, Latin, fucking Hebrew, you name it when it comes to shit like that, okay? Yeah, I got all of it, okay? I've studied it all, I've read it all, seen it all of that, okay? Now, following this said, you know, doctrine and belief, one thing that I learned and that I never put away, no matter what it is that the ability to think critically, okay? Now, I feel as if when people take on religion, they lose the ability to think critically. They lose the ability to think for themselves. The religion does all of the thinking for you. You know, this is something that many people go through when they start following one of these organized religions, or some people are born into this shit, to be real with you. You know, some people are born into following a said God the way it's supposed to be. I don't fucking know, okay? But I personally was born into the shit. Now, that's why it was kind of, you know, I'm listening to the Israelites. I'm like, well, shit. These niggas might be onto something. You goddamn right we was put in slavery. You goddamn right we was goddamn, you know, oppressed and put on slave ships and, you know, did wrong by the white man and all of that. Hell yeah, that is the truth. Okay? Now, associating all of that with the Bible is kind of like, you know, there's a lot of, but hey, I was following it. But like I said, the ability to think critically, I never lost that. That's why we're here on YouTube, okay? This is why I'm explaining just my story. You know, my son may see this one day, you know. He may, you know, I've got a kid I don't see. But yeah, my son may see this one day, and or somebody out there may see this, and they may be going through the church, or they may be going through, you know, just trying to find what it is that, you know, God or anything like that. I'm gonna tell you, don't look towards anything organized, okay? And if it has an organization, if it has a goddamn said religious text to go with it, you might as well cancel it, because it's not it. All right, you're not gonna find what you're looking for all the way unless you know what it is that you're looking for. You know, because the Bible can be used. I didn't burn any of the books. I actually still need them. You know, once you understand how deep the rabbit hole goes, yeah, there's information in there that can be used and utilized. All right. Now, is it something to live and die for? No. Is it something to, like Christians want to get beheaded for Jeebus? No. Hell no. Actually, absolutely not. You know, so having this ability to think critically while following a certain doctrine, because that's what it is, you know, or I should say believing in the Bible with a twist on it, a Negro twist on it, okay, I was able to put together or come to the conclusion or wake up or realize that the Christ figure, white, black, Asian, no matter how you paint this Christ figure, the Christ figure is fake. Okay, he's not real. He is an allegory. And the Christ figure in the Bible specifically, the one that I was believing, especially on the Israelite twist, you know, this God, you know, was, I mean, or Jeebus was like, every other Jeebus was Dionysus, Osiris. I mean, I'm just trying to put it together how many damn Christs there was, because there's been multiple Christs on earth. You know, this Christ aspect, or this awakened God type being, you know, God in the flesh, if you will, that wasn't a new concept when they made one up for the Hebrews and then wrote it in Greek. It wasn't a new concept. The concept was actually thousands of years old with Osiris and Heru and a lot of the other Egyptian deities. If you really want to be real, that's where the story stems from. And a lot of the mysteries and religions take shit from those specific, you know, stories and allegories that come out of ancient Kemet. It's where the Bible comes from, you know. But we'll get to all that. Yeah, like I said, I figured out that Jeebus ass was a fraud, okay? And there was no nigga that died on no damn cross. And there was no nigga that came down and God didn't have sex with Mary and then goddamn, what do you call it? Impregnate Mary's ass, and then Jeebus popped up, and Joseph was, and you see the story's hella funny too. Joseph was finna divorce her ass. He was finna put her away. So like I said, I looked at the story for what it was. There's a lot of contradictions in the New Testament. Okay, there are a plethora of videos out there, a lot of information out there. I came to this conclusion. This is not a video trying to break down every single contradiction in the New Testament or in the Bible or in all of that. No, I'm just explaining to you how it went for me. So my ability to think critically, I was able to put together all of the contradictions that were in the New Testament, along with the fact that it was written in Greek. And I called myself a Hebrew Israelite. You know, you got the book of Maccabees and all these other apocryphal texts that kind of speak about what was going on with Greece and Hellenization and all that. It is interesting. I figured out that the Greek niggas in the New Testament was pretty much on some bullshit. And if this language is too vulgar, like I said, hey, yo, whatever, okay? This is not, you're not going to hear me say, hey, can you please like and subscribe the video? Can you turn on your notification bell, please? No. If you want to do that, do that. If it feels right to you, do that. I won't, listen, if I'm watching a random ass YouTube video, something in me will just like the video. If I like it, I've watched thousands and hundreds of thousands of videos that I didn't like. So, but I like the video. So, whatever. I ain't one of them motherfuckers. Anyways. Ended up thinking critically, using my brain consciously. It's really using your conscience, your soul, your spirit. You know what I'm saying? Using my soul, was able to figure out that, you know, Jeebus was probably he was fictitious. You know, if you need a little help, go ahead and tap in with Flavius Josephus. You know, but even then, you know, yeah. But that's how I figured it out. I tapped in with Flavius Josephus, ended up doing a lot of deep sea diving on just the historical aspect of what was going on at that time. And it was like, I got you guys. Figured it out. So anyways, put away the New Testament, put away this Christ story as believing in, you know, a man that says to drink blood and partake in his flesh. On top of all of the slave shit that's in the New Testament, you know, slaves obey your earthly masters, you know. Slaves, obey your masters. That's what the whole New Testament talking about. Render unto Caesar's what Caesar's, pay your taxes. All of that shit's written by the goddamn Romans. All right. And those that have eyes to see will see. You got to understand the New Testament, Jeebus, the gospel, that is a very hard spell to crack. I'm not even going to lie to you. If you were to look up the word gospel, the etymology for the word gospel, you will see in the definition good spell. Why? Because it is a very, very good spell. To try to tell a black person that Christ Jeebus is non-existent is, listen, you're better off. You're just better off. Okay. I tried this. You know, there's not very many approaches you can come with taking Jeebus away from somebody. And it's not just black people. It's everybody that's on is sipping the damn cranberry juice on Sundays. God damn it, the damn grape juice. You know? It's some bullshit. And y'all know it is. Anyways, I ended up following the Tanakh and the Torah, which is the Old Testament and the first 5 books of the Torah, right? Yeah. Following the prophets, believing in all these prophecies, seeing that all these prophecies were, you know, written specifically about a certain group of people, the Israelites, and seeing that these prophecies pretty much had the Israelites coming out on top and actually having all of the other nations coming to serve us and enslave them and all of this extraness. I'm not going to lie, it resonated well with me, you know. And I would say that following a doctrine that teaches a certain type of you're chosen and everybody's not, it does brew a certain type of hatred inside of you. Okay? Now, I'm not one finna sit here and tell you that hatred is not a good thing when it's used right, because it is. Hate is emotion. When it's used right, it can be used right. Okay? Period, point blank. Everything is everything. You will hear me say shit like this on this channel a lot. I'm going to say a lot of things that's unconventional, but we'll make them conventional in due time. Straight like that. So yeah, getting back to this Old Testament and this Torah, okay? Now, following this Old Testament and this Tanakh, I exercised some critical thinking skills. And I started to look at what these prophets were saying and what these kings were doing. I was looking at what the prophets were saying and what the kings were doing. And when you look at it, none of it makes sense. They say in the Torah that God is not a respecter of persons. But the main figure of the Old Testament was guilty of a multitude of sins, and not only that, sins that were punishable by death. So me being someone that was, following this law and this Torah, right, and believing that it should be executed to the law standard. If the law say this, if the God of Israel said to do this, this is the punishment for this, this is what it is. Granted, we can't do none of that shit now, but I'm just looking at it from you niggas was able to do all of that shit back then. You had the kingdom. So how did you guys handle when people was doing some weird shit? There's a whole lot of weird shit going on. So I looked at King David. I'm like, damn, David committed adultery and murder, premeditative murder. King lying to the goddamn people. First of all, adultery and murder and all of that shit is, but you have to understand one thing, that Christianity and the Bible and the Torah and all these other religious books, it don't just stop there too. The Quran is included, These top 3 major religions, they justify bullshit. Yes, they do. They justify bullshit. And one of those things that they justify is murder. If it's in the name of your God, or if this person is murdering someone for God, or, just if God fucks with him, it's good. Because clearly David was guilty of murder and adultery and all of that. And one of the prophets of God, I think his name was Nathan, slid on David and said, you know what? You're good. David's like, bro, I just did some fucked up shit, bro. Is it good? Nathan's like, you're good. You're good. And I'm looking at this shit like, hey, David's supposed to die for that. That was fucked up. On top of, there was a few nations of people that, of course, God said could never come into the congregation, excluded. And the nigga he put on the front line was one of them. So David's top 30 people weren't even Israelites. His generals and all that were all from a different nation. And it's like, hey, yo, you out here killing people. You got ops in your camps, in your high ranks. You know what I'm saying? You're just on bullshit. Ain't you already married when you did that too? So, like I said, you look at the Bible. You go back to the Torah. Now we're going to move down. We already went through the Tanakh. And like I said, the prophets, you got Ezekiel, or one of these niggas had to eat shit, right? He had to eat food with shit. This is madness, right? This is madness. You got Isaiah. I think it was Isaiah had to run around butt ass naked preaching to people, talking about they don't want to hear the word of they don't want to hear your word, Most High. They don't want to hear, the Israelites are stiff necked. They don't want to hear your word. Nigga, you're naked. Fam, you are a naked nigga trying to preach and teach some shit. Now you got to use your critical thinking skills. This is what's in the Bible. You look at Ezekiel chapter 1, he talking about he's seeing all these different shits and whatnot. Nigga was on mushrooms. A wheel with inside a wheel. Flip open the mushroom cap. Okay? All of it once you know what you're looking for, it's all there. Okay. Now we're gonna move from the prophets and all that. Let's just go back down to the Torah. Okay. And then you got the chosen people, right? And everybody who's not chosen, who worships their own gods and their own little shit, they are subject to these people, these Israelites coming out of Egypt, right? God, the Most High, Yahweh, whatever, Jehovah, whatever you want to call this nigga, okay? Whatever you want to call him, he tells all the Israelites that these nations that are around about you and all of this land, it's yours. And this is what I had a problem with. Because I'm just, like I said, I'm a real person. You know, I think critically. So, you look at the Canaanites, you look at the Philistines, especially when you go back thousands of years ago. Hey, they're all black people. Black people. All of these nations that these are describing that the Israelites went in, like the Oakland Raiders with the symbol, that's the Israelite symbol, the Oakland Raiders shit, like some damn pirates, nigga. They ran up in other people. And mind you, I used to believe this shit, you know. My name on Facebook is still Judah Maccabeus, all right? And this is for the people on Facebook too, because I done told y'all stop believing in God a minute ago and just left niggas, you know. But seeing that, you know, that slavery was justified. It says, when this is what the Torah says, when you go and capture and take over a nation, you could take their wife or take all the women and abduct the kids. That's what it says, okay? Take the women, abduct the kids. And then in some cases, it says slay everybody, goddamn it. Just kill them all. Fuck it. Kill them all. That's what the God of the Bible is talking about. This nigga is, what'd he say? He said, I am a jealous God. Nigga, that is a feminine emotion for a male God to have. Okay? Jealousy, I have never met nobody that was jealous that was good. But niggas is praying to a jealous God and giving they praise and thanks and hallelujah in to a jealous God. Hey, yo. A man of war, they say he is. Okay? But you look at the initial war that was waged with the Israelites, black Israelite niggas, it was waged on black people. So here's the thing. You got a problem with how, my God, you got a problem with how the white man did us, right? The white man came through, killed the men, abducted women and children. You know what I'm saying? All types of shit, you know, through the Spanish Inquisition, through slavery, all the shit. We know how it went down, okay? Listen, these motherfuckers justified what they did in the Bible because God said to do it. Well, hell, the white man's God said to do it too. The Christian God, nigga, the same God you guys praying to, the God of the damn Bible. They were Christian Bible, same books. Don't want to hear it. Different twists. Everybody got their damn twist on the damn shit. Even Christians, they got the twist on the shit. What they got? They got the Pentecostal, the Baptist, the Seventh-day Adventist, the Mormons, Jehovah's Witness, the goddamn, you name it. You name it, they got a church that fits your swag. Straight like that. Straight like that. So like I said, the Bible was justifying, and the Torah was justifying a whole lot of weird shit. You know, and I'm looking at this shit and I'm thinking critically, right? And I'm like, well, this don't make sense. Because if I'm sitting here saying I love my people and I love black people and all that, especially you look at a small nation of people who say that, you know, all of everybody that's not, and mind you, there's a group of people on earth right now that think the same way that the Bible says, or that you know what I'm saying? So you see everybody call them fucked up. Everybody call them fucked up. God's chosen people. Everybody call them motherfuckers fucked up because they are, you know? Because that shit that they're following is fucked up. Got them thinking that they are the biggest and baddest and the best on the goddamn planet, you know? And that's clearly not the case. Another thing that I disliked about the Torah was the fact that it was very patriarchal, okay? And very oppressive towards the woman, from the beginning of the book all the way to the end of the book. Okay? You know, in the New Testament, it say, suffer your women not to speak in the church, remain silent, whoop-de-wobbity whoop, no feminine, no whoop-wop. But, you know, they don't follow the damn shit, but that's what the book says, you know? That's what the book says. The book says that a woman, when she is on her menstrual cycle, is unclean. Now tell me how much bullshit that is. How is the God going to create a woman and then say in his laws that when she's on her cycle that everything that she touches is unclean? So you have to use your brain. I said I wasn't going to try to convince people, but I'm saying if you happen to be listening and you know what I'm saying, hey man, tell people to just use their goddamn Scully. Use your Scully. It's some bullshit. Oh, we don't even follow that. It's in your book. Why ain't nothing that I follow or don't follow in my damn book. Period. If I don't follow the shit, I ain't believing in the damn shit. Period. Point fucking blank. So, that's where it is. That's why I stopped following. I went through the New Testament, through the Torah and the prophets, seen all that weird shit, the prophets and shit, seen the Torah, and I was like, wow. All of it means nothing if you don't know how to read and understand the Bible. Because the Bible, there's nothing original about it. Especially when you're dealing with that of Adam and Eve, you know, and the story, the whole timeline and all of that. All the stories come from somewhere else. It is a compilation of earlier myths. Most of them coming out of Egypt. You can look all of this shit up. Do your own homework. Like I said, this ain't to convince you. This is a testimony. Surviving Christianity. Yes, sirski. Surviving the damn whole book. Because I was not a Christian for a while. I was, you know, following the Israelites. You know? Survived it all. Free your mind. Free my mind. Now, to some may say, oh man, this nigga lost his way. Oh, some may say, oh, this nigga is demonic. He didn't went and found the devil. The devil then whispered in his ear. Well, here's the thing. When you don't believe that God exists, no longer does that Satan. And when you look at even the Bible to even begin with, only time that you see Satan pop up in the Old Testament is when what? God specifically makes a bet with this nigga. A fucked up bet that, you know, it was just fucked up. The story's called Job. And then we justify shit like that because I don't know why. Like I said, this is a very elaborate spell that was casted on people. Now, black people who had this spell casted on them via slavery and torture. So did Native Americans. So did Hispanics and people down in Latin America, Caribbean. Everybody had this shit forced on them via some bullshit. Okay? So you really have to look like all the people who are Native American and Christian, that is gotta be a mental illness. All the black people that are Christian, and if you look up the slaves that was brung over here, none of them was Christian. It was forced conversion. Mental illness. I'm done saying that, oh yeah, you know, like it gotta be mentally ill because you can't critically think straight like that. The book condones slavery, rape, torture, murder. Slaves, obey your masters, your earthly masters. It made sure to put the earthly masters, okay, straight like that. They got people believing in God knows what when it comes to timelines, you know. They believe in Adam and Eve. You look at how old Adam and Eve is going back to the dates. Just do the math. It only equals like 7,000 years. The Sphinx and the fucking pyramids in Egypt, the damn mounds they found over in America are older than Adam and Eve. Be real. They say from Adam to this nigga is X amount of years. From this nigga to this nigga is X amount of years. Do all the math and then add all that shit up. They say that on what is it? What is his name? Noah. Who was it? Who? Oh, they say, yeah, Noah's son. It was Noah's son, God damn it. Ham. had a son named Mizraim, and Mizraim is allegedly the father of the Egyptian race. They have traced this year of the flood back to about 4,000 years ago when all this flood shit happened. Okay, this flood of the Bible and shit like that. And then, you know, they get off the boat and Noah has sons, and, you know, one of his sons ends up becoming the father of the Egyptian race. It says that in the Bible. Or it says that when you break down, you know, in the concordance what, you know, who Mizraim is. Now, seeing that, it's like, hey, yo, there was no Egypt before the flood? That's real spooky. Because, you know, the Sphinx about 13,000 years ago, if that. The pyramids about the same 1,000 years, 10,000 plus. So the flood was only 4,000. Like I said, you got to just use your critical thinking abilities and all of the damn spell will be broken. I promise you. But here's the thing. People are following a text that say everything outside of the text is demonic or evil or witchcraft. You know what I'm saying? Or something of that nature. Now, I find that interesting because that's what really sparked my interest outside of the Bible. Okay? This is what sparked my interest, Joe. It's beautiful. The dark side. Yeah, everything that Christianity said. Because I started asking questions, yo. I started looking into the things that they were punishing people for death. And, you know, what is all this witchcraft? What is all this divination and shit they was talking about, you know? Because if you really break the spell, you know that what's light is dark and what's dark is light. All the shit that they was demonizing, a.k.a. the Romans and shit with this book, was all the indigenous practices of all the native people around the world. Okay? Predominantly the people in Africa. This is why they say talking to your ancestors is demonic. You know what I'm saying? A familiar spirit. Listen to the damn science. Listen to the madness in that. Anybody who deals with a familiar spirit is of the devil or some dumb shit. A familiar spirit. So if your mama passed away and you goddamn talk to your mama or your grandmama or some shit like that, that you on some devil shit. Now you have to understand, Africans been doing shit like that for tens of thousands of years, way before the damn Bible. Now all African practices, and you look at the Christian mindset, when they look, or anybody who follow any of these damn books, they look at when they see somebody doing some indigenous type of practice, some type of ritual or something of the sorts, it is looked at as witchcraft and demonic. The God of the Bible, people, you look at what black people think as far as, you know, the Israelites when it comes to justifying slavery. Okay. Slavery was because they fucked up and all of this shit and they were punished. Okay. And God let all of this fucked up shit. They let babies get fed to alligators. They use human skin for leather. Okay, they plucked the teeth out of slaves for George Washington's teeth. A lot of diabolical shit, you know what I'm saying? And God's just up there watching this saying like, yeah, you Israelite bastards, this is what you niggas get. Especially the ones who never did nothing. Never did nothing. And what they say, I'm going to punish you for your generations and shit. You're a cursed people. You're a cursed people. You ask black people, they'll tell you, we're cursed. In that sense, you know, the ones that believe the Bible in that way. I stopped believing all that shit. Because once you stop believing that you're cursed according to some stupid ass book, nigga, the curse is broken. The damn people in Haiti, they wasn't with none of that shit. They went and did some of their ancient African practice, some voodoo, okay? And then did a whole revolution after they did an African ritual on August 17th, 1791, I believe, okay? Did a voodoo ritual with some pig's blood and all types of shit like that. But hey, niggas listening like, damn, pig's blood. And yeah, nigga, pig's blood. Nigga, probably some chickens and roosters too. And the shit worked. Niggas up here believing in Jeebus, praying to the same slave master's God that everybody else praying to, thinking that they finna get saved. Hell no. It's a mental illness. We still praying to this shit, still giving 10% of our tithes and offering to these diabolical goddamn organizations. I call them diabolical because to be able to be set up by the government as a tax exempt organization and to be able to collect 10% of everybody's check for tithes and offering for 52 weeks out the year, tax free, is wicked. And I don't give a fuck what nobody's talking about. Now, granted, not every single pastor that is out there collecting money and whatnot is doing such wickedness with the money. I just say the whole system is set up like that for people to, you know what I'm saying, play on people's emotions with the God shit to give up some goddamn money. That's some wicked ass shit. I could easily take all the knowledge that I know about the Bible, shut up about the goddamn truth, and just preach some lummy dust watered down as Jeepers juice. Hell no. Okay? It's not wrong. So like I said, I've went through all of the ringers when it comes to following said book. Now, after following the book, I ended up finding that if you understand the occult, if you understand the mystic side, if you do some research into what they consider the dark side and the shit that Christianity is all scared of and shit like that, you'll eventually end up coming across alchemy. Okay? And once you find the alchemical process, you know, for the mind and for the spirit and all of that, you'll be able to look at the Bible and see it was written for a certain type of people. This is why the Gnostics were able to interpret the Bible a certain way, you know, when it comes to some of these stories, like the Serpent's Wisdom. I got a book over there called, you know, the Return of the Serpent's Wisdom by Mark Amaru Pinkham. Now, all throughout ancient time, the serpent was seen as the good guy. The serpent was seen as that which is, you know, wise. The woman and the serpent both were turned into the bad guy in the very first chapter, the very first book of the Bible. No cap. Very first book of the Bible, the woman and the serpent become evil. But in the second chapter, the serpent becomes the savior. Israelites are on the Exodus. What happened? What happened? Israelites are on the Exodus. Oh, everybody getting bit by scorpions and whatnot. Moses get told by the Most High that everybody who get bit by a serpent, he told Moses to take a brass serpent and put it on top of his pole. And everybody that look upon that brass serpent will be saved. Okay? Now, once you understand alchemy, that was nothing but talking about raising the serpent up that pole, which is the spinal, you know, up to the top. That is unlocking, you know what I'm saying? All these different stories is talking about alchemy. I make videos breaking some of the shit down. But once you understand what you're looking for, or you understand the process and you understand certain components of the alchemical process, you'll notice when you see water, you know, that's a feminine essence. That's a feminine principle. See, animals, you're dealing with the animal nature of the human being. Okay? Straight like that. Yeah, I'm not going to get into all of that on this video. I won't make it too damn long, but I'm just trying to walk y'all through the process of thinking critically through the Bible. That's really all it is. A lot of our people, family included, you know, they will never take that step to actually look into what is the truth behind or the origins behind their stories or their teachings that they believe. What really fucked a lot of this shit up, if not everything, is for the longest time, especially in Africa, they never had this conception of God. Okay, that is a fairly new concept. Okay, especially when you understand how old humans are. What we're dealing with is religions that popped up in the past 4,000 years. Okay, that's what we're dealing with. All these patriarchal religions just popped up 4,000 years ago. What was everything prior to? You know what I'm saying? What was going on before this flood? They got Atlantis and Lemuria, all these other different world nations and shit that was on Earth, and yet nobody does no research to see what it is that they were dealing with before people started believing in a God, or believing in because I do believe in an all source of all, you know what I'm saying? But it's probably a feminine spirit, feminine essence. And it has nothing to do with anything that's in any of these books. Okay, I'm gonna tell you that. Not as far as any of these major religions are going, I mean, like I said, this is a big Stockholm syndrome. We're dealing with high level indoctrination. It's fucked. Okay, I chose to make this video and put this video up first simply because I need people who come and actually choose to tap into this channel and tap into what I got to say. I need them to understand where I'm coming from. Okay, I need them to understand that there is a lot of truth and goodness in these books, but you have to understand how to read it. The Romans took what was always allegorical and then historicalized it. Once the books became historicalized and the allegories became history and people started taking these stories as literal history, that's where everything got fucked up. Okay, because before then, everybody knew in these mystery schools and in these mystery sections and in these cults, they all knew that these were all these stories and all these teachings and all that, that's all dealing with different components of things that's inside of you already. Okay, when people look at the Egyptians or the people in ancient Kemet and they see all these different deities and whatnot, they assume that these are polytheistic people. But once you study the occult, you'll see, or you study just African spirituality dating back, it's all aspects of the same one true all source, and a lot of these are inside of you as latent forces of the collective unconscious. Okay, this is deep shit, but you gotta know, to worship a God other than yourself is to worship a God inferior than you. That's what the whole kicker is. We are energy beings, electric beings. We're more powerful than we ever been taught. And you have to understand, they got people giving their energy to external deities, to external sources, seeking external assistance, not knowing that every problem that you have in your life is probably a direct result of you, or shit is just what it is. That's some shit that Christians want to sugarcoat and water everything down or just blame everything because God said, and it's just no, nigga, some shit is just fucked up. And Earth is fucked up. Period, point blank. Hell no. A lot of the shit that people are thinking and believing when it comes to these religious texts, okay, is just not true. And it's only because they are taking these allegorical stories and they're actually historicalizing them. Okay? That's where it all gets all fucked up. There's nothing wrong with the story if you understand how it's to be used. Okay? It's not to be used as put your whole life on the line and you believe that you gave your soul to some entity out there that ain't never goddamn said nothing back to you. People be like, I spoke to the Lord. Man, stop lying. You heard your own goddamn voice. I stopped praying because I actually used my brain. I was like, wait, when I pray, I hear my goddamn own voice in there. So when you pray and you don't hear God's voice, but you hear your own voice, what does that tell you? Who's God? What does that tell you? That's the shit that would throw a Christian or a Muslim or, somebody that is indoctrinated into giving all their energy to a single source and him being the soul, anything like that, anything other than somebody being a God or somebody having that type of same deification inside of them will be looked at as a damn madman. Well, hey, this is the rug pull. I appreciate everybody tapping in. Okay, you don't gotta like shit, you ain't gotta subscribe, but I appreciate you